Tonight, you are joining us for our work at home story brought to you by Your Freedom Project. And just as you're jumping on the live stream, let us know where you're from and say hi. I'm tuning in or joining you from Stettler, Alberta, and we have Alison Van de Pol, who is in Iowa. And just a quick little intro. 11 years ago, I was on the path to becoming a lifetime server. And with no post secondary education, it was clear if I wanted to make progress, I needed to make a change. And then I came across Your Freedom Project, which taught me how to become an online entrepreneur. And having a business of my own has allowed me the flexibility to work when and where I want. And it's been a big help to my family financially. And so, what we do is once a month, sometimes twice a month, we share a work at home story, which is basically a day in the life of an online entrepreneur just like me. And what you may not realize is that we're all facing 7 major challenges, which are making it more difficult than ever for you and those you care about to get ahead and truly thrive. Whoops.
This is Jody here. I'll take over. I am also an online entrepreneur, and I'm one of the ones who helped set up this event. So my parents started their business back in the 80s, and a home-based business, which eventually turned into an online business. And that's probably about as much as I'll go into there, I guess. I did go into the retail world and eventually realized mom and dad's lifestyle was a lot better than mine. And so that's when I decided to follow in their footsteps and created an online business that is similar to what Alison is doing, but actually what I do is create services that helps people like Alison. So if we could, I'm just kind of jumping in here, Alison, a little unprepared, but let's talk a little bit about you, if we could. Share with us your story on what was it that first got you interested in your business. Tell us a little bit about your story there. Love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in my 20s and I was on my career path working for the state health department in the state where I live. And but I was actually experiencing a lot of health challenges, really digestive stuff that had been with me since childhood, but really kind of came to a head in my 20s. And I just wasn't thriving the way all of my peers were. And I was quite miserable. And so a friend of mine actually introduced me to a company that could solve some of my health issues. And so that's actually where I started. At the time I was single, and I had a home and I had a career, and I was actually going to school full time as well to be a nurse. And so I didn't really want to take on an additional expense. So my home-based business actually started with the wanting to be able to have these products that I knew would help with my health, but not wanting to pay for those out of pocket. So initially my goal was just to earn what I needed to pay for the products.
And share with those watching, if you could, what were you skeptical about? What are some of the thoughts and reservations that you had before you started?
Yeah, that, bothering all of my friends and family. I think that was the first one. And I think that's something that so many people think about, is having to hound my friends and family to purchase something from me, was probably the first. And then the other was just time. As I mentioned, I was, for a single person, I was quite busy with a full-time job, going to school full-time, a house to take care of. And so it was probably the time, and then, pestering friends and family.
And just share a little bit, maybe a point or two. How did you overcome that? How were you able to move forward without having to bug people?
I think that for me, it's something that, and I think for a lot of people, it really has to come from a place of authenticity. So I just, happened to fall in love with the company and the products that I was using. And so I think when that happens, it's really easy to share. It's very natural. And I'm not a salesperson. And so I didn't want to sell, but, just in having conversations, in having my own experience and my own results, just sharing with people really, ended up developing into more of a business than I ever anticipated.
Share with us a little bit, if you could, what have been some of the challenges that you have run into with your business? Maybe whether it's time or, of course, Brett came along, you already had the business, right?
Yes.
Share with that, how did that work out? Bringing in a new partner to all of this.
Yeah. Well, and that's been a slow journey for us because it's kind of always been my thing. And Brett has allowed me to do that, but it's always been mine. And so then of course you add family, you add a husband, now we have 2 little children. And so, the time was still a factor. And then also for us, not wanting something that pulled me away from our family. And that's when we decided to go into business together.
And tell us a little about how much time do you dedicate to the business now?
Well, we've actually been through a recent major change. I would say we've had a very stable, thriving business now for several years, probably putting in anywhere between 5 and 10 hours a week. And I would honestly say for us, it's been more on the five side, but definitely if you were to calculate all the little, everywhere we fit it into the nooks and crannies, somewhere between 5 and 10 hours. And so that's what we've been doing up until very recently. And I will say with the recent pandemic, Brett is in sales, and he did his job took a hit. He's in the market of athletic apparel. And, most people know, at least around here, that people weren't playing sports. People weren't ordering athletic apparel or equipment. And so his position and his job really was affected, and is still affected. And so that's really, we had already decided prior to the pandemic, we had already started bringing him on board into our business, but absolutely more so because number one, he had the time, but also we have a market in our current business where when his was suffering, our other business started to really thrive, and is still doing so. So it was an easy transition.
And tell us a little bit about the time. So if you're spending, I think you said 5 to 10 hours a week.
Yes.
Share with us, what do those hours consist of?
So really it's making those connections like we talk about. So being present on social media is really big, and being intentional about that. So we spend time socially. We spend time connecting with people, whether that's in person or, of course, lately that's been more, online. So through email, text, and then we've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings. So one-on-ones, that's definitely something we've been doing. And then so that's with prospects, or potential clients or current clients or customers. And then we also have a team of people in our business. And so we spend time leading them, meeting with them one-on-one, we meeting with them as a team. We also do personal development during those hours, and engage with our company in their meetings, with YFP, participating in the meetings that YFP offers. So kind of a mix between some of that business development, and then also prospecting and working with customers and clients.
Right. Share with us, if you could, what are some of the things that maybe surprised you about the business that, were good surprises that you didn't really expect, that's turned out to be better than you thought?
Oh, well, honestly, if you would have told me when I started this business that I would still be doing it, I would have said no. I wasn't going to have a business anyway, but would I still be doing it? I would have said no. So the fact that I'm still in this business, this far into it, it's been, over 10 years. So just the fact that I have a business still, and that I absolutely love it. And I think that is really, so I kind of alluded to this, but we have really made a change recently, in that I left my 20-year career and decided to devote full-time to an online business. And, it's really exciting. And I just think that there's so much growth, opportunity and potential. And we see this market as really thriving, and being able to offer the freedom and flexibility that I didn't have in my other job. And so, and I'm sorry, Jody, I feel like you asked me about the time, and I kind of got off on a tangent about, yeah. So, what
time was one, but the other one was, what has surprised you?
What has surprised me? So I think just how how enjoyable it is, and how much, that I do have the freedom and flexibility, and how important that is. I couldn't have known when I started how important it is to have the freedom and the flexibility, and to really essentially be your own boss. So we definitely, like I said, we work for a company, but we work with them, but not directly for them. We work for ourselves, but we have the support that we need through the company we work for and through YFP. And so I think the biggest surprise is just how good it feels to have that freedom and flexibility when you have a young family like our situation. And how I think another great surprise, especially recently, is just seeing how much potential. And I really do believe that this really is the way of the future. I think we're all recognizing that right now with what's been going on. And I don't think that's going to go back. And I think, the current situation is obviously very devastating in so many ways. But I've said, you have to look at the silver lining. I really believe that. And I think that one of the great things that is coming out of this is that people are really turning to online businesses and being able to grow and thrive in this type of market, which is really exciting.
Well, then one thing that I want to share too for anyone who's watching this is just to also give you some context of like, why do we do these events? So, which we may have sort of missed when I was jumping in here, is we're trying to make sure that you guys can hear from other folks that are already, just starting or well into their online business, as you can see with Alison, who's been in this for 10 years. Just tips, strategies, ideas, thoughts that they could share that would allow you to feel if this is a decision you want to make, or if you are already in your own online business, that you can get some ideas that would you could take to the bank to help you with yours. And maybe one of them is, what are some of the kind of the mental shifts did you have to make, Alison, in this business that you would definitely encourage others to consider making as well?
First of all, is it possible to have a lucrative business online? And again, I was not in that frame of mind when I started, because that's not where I saw my future. But that mental shift was, absolutely, it is. Not only is it possible, but so many people are doing it and so many people are succeeding. And again, it is so rewarding. And I think another is it's work. So, it's not magic, and, but it is work. But again, it's work when you want to work, how you want to work. And, systems like YFP, they're in place. And that's something that we've done fairly recently with our business, is joined YFP. I'll just be completely honest. I was a little hesitant at first, and I was a little resistant. So I should have joined a lot earlier, but it took me a little while to wrap my brain around it. And I can't believe I'm actually telling you that, Jody, but it's true. So maybe someone else who's listening had those reservations.
Yes.
Yeah. Because this wasn't how I saw myself operating in a business. But now that I understand it, and now that I know, I'm a person, I needed a system. And that's what YFP offers. But it is work. So it's not magic. I think a lot of people look at like an online business and kind of wonder what exactly you're doing, or does it just happen overnight? And it is work.
Pressing buttons and shooting emails and everything's happening.
Yes. And you are your own boss, and you do have freedom and flexibility, but you still have to work. But again, having a system that you can follow and that you can put into place really is, for me, that was a key part of the success.
And just so those that are watching may have heard Alison reference YFP several times, that stands for Your Freedom Project. And really what it is we understand that having an online business is a business project. And with any project, you need several elements in order to succeed. One of them is strategy, tools, a plan, support, things like that. And in essence, what YFP is what's called an educational marketing system, where our way of helping folks, what we teach as a way of creating sales volume, because you got to have customers who buy from you, or you're not a legitimate business. You're just like a Ponzi scheme or something like that. So you need customers who buy from you. But how you make that happen can happen in several ways. One of it can be by focusing on selling and maybe employing pushy sales tactics, which most people don't like. And that's what you said you didn't want to do, right? You didn't want to be a salesperson, or what you thought a salesperson, does. And what we're recommending is instead focusing on providing people a choice, so that they can look at what's the best fit for them. And then if there's any selling that happens, it's them selling themselves. So that's kind of a nutshell of what YFP does and whatnot. So Alison, this has been great. Before we wrap up, share with us, if you could, what are a couple skill sets that you feel maybe you needed to skill up on when you started that you didn't realize, and that you could share with others to say, definitely, these are some things to think about skill-wise?
So are you saying like when we went more like online specifically?
Yeah, just in business, I guess, business in general. And yeah, let's fast forward a little bit to your sort of online world. Yeah. So if somebody's looking at the business and they're thinking, what do I need to be good at to do this? What would you say that would be? And we know that they don't need previous experience, and they can start off without the skills and eventually learn them. What would be the kind of core ones that you'd suggest people focus on learning?
So I honestly think in today's world, I know you can have an online business without social media. And that's absolutely true. I know social media does not have to be a part of it, but I do think for us so just speaking from me personally and from my experience, I do think it really is key in this market to skill up in social media. It's a great way to grow a business. It's a great way to connect with people. So you can have fun while you're growing a business, but there are skills involved. And so it's not just a matter of like hopping on social media and kind of, liking things. There's a lot more to it than that.
Or blasting out posts telling them to buy stuff.
Right. Exactly. Yes. So there are skills involved. And I think that when you really start to understand, how to use social media correctly for your business, I think that's really key. And then I think the other, and this might come very naturally for some people, but it's not always natural for me necessarily, is if you are going to be in an online business, for yourself, but not by yourself. I do think it's important to really understand, to have a system and to have time management. So we talked about the system, and that was key for us. And I love the concept of educational marketing, because you're right. I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to be a salesperson, but I believe wholeheartedly in the products that I offer. And it's just a matter of connecting people to the information and letting them sell themselves, as you said. But then also having like that system in terms of how you work your business, how you have time management, and how you organize yourself. Because it's really easy to jump into a business. And if you don't have some of that discipline and that time management and those systems, it's really easy to just let the days go by. And then you're wondering why you're not succeeding and thriving. And, your calendar will tell you that, your skills will tell you that. So I think those are a couple of just very basic things that are very key.
That's fantastic. And maybe just say one thing. What's your favorite benefit you've experienced with the business so far, and one that you're looking for maybe to add to that?
Oh, so, favorite benefit so far is really, truly, I mentioned these earlier, but the freedom and flexibility, that it offers me, especially as a person who has worked for someone for 20 years, just that shift in being able to work for myself full time, and have more time with my family when I want to. So I think that's huge. And then the next benefit that I'm looking forward to, which is maybe sort of silly, I did not go into my business for this, but our company offers travel, and I am really looking forward to my, first, technically my second, but all expense paid trips around the world. I love to travel, and that's a benefit that our company offers that I'm really looking forward to earning. That's
pretty amazing. And I want to acknowledge you as well. For those that are watching, Alison, when she started working with us, you were basically, if I'm hearing this correctly from Kristen, you've a little over doubled your volume by employing educational marketing strategies with something called the Learn and Earn. Am I right with that?
That is correct. Yes. So, and Kristen's been phenomenal, and YFP has been phenomenal, but yes, it's the system that we were looking for, and we have more than doubled our business. We have added more team members, and it's just been, fabulous.
Awesome. Well, I could tell by your personality and, the way you're speaking and things like discipline, you're a great communicator. You're going to be very successful. So good for you. Well, with that, let's wrap it up for now. I just so appreciate everyone being here and watching this. And hopefully if you could just type in the chat something that you felt was kind of your big takeaway from what you heard Alison say, or what you liked best about what you saw in this presentation. And by all means, get with the person that invited you to this event. If if you have an entrepreneurial bone in your body and you like the idea, well, one, either of just simply earning an extra income and you want to do it online by working at home and you're trying to get some more information about how to do that, that's one reason. Or if you're a little bit someone where you really want to be like Alison and actually replace a career income and move to a bigger level and get more for yourself, well, there's also something here for you for that as well. So Alison, I'll just let you have some final words and then we'll wrap it up. Any final thoughts?
No, I would just say that, I really do think this is the way of the future. And if you would have asked me when I started out what my career would be, I would have never told you it was an entrepreneur working for myself, but it's absolutely a great way to go. And I really think that more people are going to be going towards this. So I would just say, as Jody said, go for it.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you all. And we'll see you next week on next week's Work at Home show. With that, we'll take it away. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Alison.
Thanks, Jody.